Let me tell you this. If you meet a loner, no matter what they tell you, it's not because they enjoy solitude. It's because they have tried to blend into the world before. And people continue to disappoint them. Jodi Picoult, my sister's keeper. If you've ever felt alone or unwanted or abandoned, I promise you're not. This is the biggest lie your ultimate enemy ever told you. And if you ever need to know who your ultimate enemy is, look no further than within yourself. There's so much love in this world, and there are so many people willing to give it. Remember that you are only as alone as you want to be. Love is what makes the world go round. And there is so much more good in this world than there is bad. Though it may seem at times that the opposite is true, hold on to the light at the end of the tunnel. Because sometimes it's all you have.
I'm all alone in this world. I'm all alone in this world. Party of one, friend of none. Just a lonely girl who's all alone in this world.
Hey guys, I'm your host Nia, and welcome to Faded Lipstick. This podcast is brought to you by Empower You Edutainment. Disclaimer: I am not a licensed therapist or mental health professional in any way, shape, or form. This podcast or the makers of this podcast are not affiliated with any licensed therapist or mental health professional. I am simply a peer, a fellow struggler with her own mental health. The purpose of this podcast is to share my own struggles and ways I cope, to make each of us understand that we are never alone, no matter how alone we may feel at times, and to erase the stigma surrounding mental health, medication for mental health, and those with a mental health diagnosis. If you are in crisis or know someone who might be, please call 988 or the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Anything said or suggested or revealed on this podcast is not to be taken as professional advice or counseling. I consider myself a peer educator and want to help all live a fulfilled and mentally healthy life. With that out of the way, you may be asking yourself, what's all this about? What's the deal with this podcast? Well, this podcast is about mental health and how to manage it. Every other week, we will be doing things to talk about mental health and mental well-being. Well, you also may be asking yourself, who is this podcast for? Well, it's for everyone. I want to build a platform and community of people who want to learn more about mental health and who want to confront those traumas and their pain, who want to feel less alone. This podcast is for humans who do what humans do, suffer. Yes, of course, there are happy moments in life, moments where you might find solace or love or nirvana, Shangri-La, El Dorado, or whatever colloquial utopian ideal you can insert here. But there will also be moments in life that will bring you to your knees. Have you standing alone on a proverbial ledge, screaming, wishing anyone, someone could hear you? I believe these are the moments that define us. We are defined by the decisions we make on the precipice of the things that seek to destroy us. but we can't let them. With this podcast, I want to get raw and real and share my truth and encourage others to live in their truth and find their own piece of solace. Everyone struggles with mental health at one point or another. It's simple. It's part of the human condition. One of the many things that connect us all, according to the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. According to Mayo Clinic, mental illness, also called mental health disorders, refers to a wide range of mental health conditions, disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Examples of mental illness include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. In this podcast, we will be talking about things such as tips for coping, self-care, healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms, different types of mental illness, toxic relationships versus healthy relationships, red flags, cutting out toxic people, yes, even family, and more. You may be asking yourself, what is faded lipstick? And what the hell does it have to do with mental health? Well, I think the best way to express it is a poem I wrote. I relate my emotions through my writings, and I just let everything pour out onto the page, and I let it go. So without further ado, here it is. I've been dying since my youth. This is the brutal truth. They say they could die young, but all we've ever wanted was to be loved. We're not human to you. Lock them away, you say. Hide them, hide them. Curse thy name, thou curseful child of whom to be ashamed. Sorry to go straight at medieval, but nothing has changed in 500 years. If I have a broken leg, then I'm sick. But if I have a mental health diagnosis, I'm just broken. This sad, abused, unwanted wretch just for one night. Let my mind quiet down. Let me be like Cinderella. Even if the clock strikes 12, let me know I know how it felt to be normal. Because I never wanted to be different. We never wanted to be different. We just knew we weren't like everyone else. When the lipstick fades, so does my facade where I can pretend I'm just like you. When the lipstick fades, I drop all my pretenses and I'm nothing more than a pumpkin. Except, not even a glass slipper remains. This poem is about mental health and how people with a mental health diagnosis feel like we have to hide because we are not accepted by polite society. More this than anything, this podcast is about erasing the stigma that unfortunately surrounds mental health. That's so important to me because I too struggle with my mental health and I need help sometimes. But the thing is, it's part of the human condition. None of us are exempt from human pain and suffering, and according to NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Health, 1 in 5 people struggle with some sort of mental health diagnosis. So chances are, if you don't personally struggle with this, someone you know and love probably does. This podcast will be bi-weekly and will cover an array of topics under the very broad umbrella of mental health. If you have any comments or topics you'd like to hear my take on, please leave your comments or topic suggestions in the comments below. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and are comfortable with a virtual interview, please email me at shadella15@gmail.com. That's SHADELLA15@gmail.com. With all that being said, I really hope you'll join me on this journey. See y'all in 2 weeks. Our topic will be self-care and the importance of it. Every other week, I am going to either leave y'all with a Nia-ism, which is a quote written by me, or a quote from another philosophical mind. Today's Nia-ism is, life is pain. That is the essence of what life is. But you can rise above the pain. You can't let it define or control you. You have to fight against what life is so that you can make it better.